For most people, a divorce is not like a spider dropping out of the ceiling that surprises you. For most people, you can see it coming for a while. Maybe you've been planning to get a divorce, or maybe you think your spouse is planning for a divorce. If you have any inkling, any idea that is on your horizon, it's smart for you to be making a financial game plan for how you're going to get through the divorce and how you're going to survive after the divorce. Maybe you've always shared joint accounts and you need to go ahead and set up your own bank account. You need to make sure financially that you're able to take care of yourself, because if your spouse walks out today, leaves you high and dry, until you can get into court and file some things for some temporary relief, you still got to pay bills. You still got to eat. You still got to get your kids back and forth to soccer practice. You need to have a game plan in advance. The best preparation you can do is to be smart and be reasonable and think, okay, if I'm going to have to do all these things by myself, what steps can I put into place right now in order to make sure that I can survive through this difficult time? So a game plan is very important. When you're looking at the financial burdens, basically, of a divorce, you know there's going to be attorney's fees. You know there's going to be court costs. You're going to still have to pay the bills. You're still going to have to pay the children's tuition for school. You're still going to have to pay for baseball uniforms and all these things that you and your spouse have done together. If you look ahead of time and start putting some money back, maybe you save a little bit out of every paycheck for a while, and you know you've got to get out of the situation, you can do that. But sometimes it does creep up on you and an emergency happens and you've got to get out right now. Financially, you're in a strain. Don't be ashamed to talk to your family, talk to your friends. People love you, they want to help you, and many times they may be willing to come alongside you and help you get through this time. They want to help. Don't be afraid to ask them for help, because if you've not had time to develop a financial game plan, you've got to all of a sudden switch over to an emergency situation, and you got to have an emergency plan. Your emergency plan may be calling mom and dad, or your emergency plan may be that for the next 6 months, I'm going to put back this much out of every paycheck to build a little nest egg so that when it's time, I'm okay and my kids are okay. You're building your game plan for your divorce, and you know that's coming, and you need to not only prepare financially, you need to prepare documents. You need to prepare evidence. You need to be able to show to the court that you've been the parent who took the children to the doctor, who always was the one who signed that little, we went over homework sheet for the school every night. You're the one who went to the PTA meetings or to have lunch with your child at school. And you can build some documentation, sometimes even from sign-in sheets at your child's school or the sign-in sheets at the doctor's office, that you can show, I'm the one who's been involved with my child all the time. Maybe, though, financially, we need to get some documents together in your case in advance where you're able to show that you have been the one who's paid all the bills, you've taken care of all these responsibilities, and you are the one that you're asking the court now to award certain things to because you've taken care of these during your marriage. Documents are extremely important in a divorce. Now, a divorce can be very document heavy, and a lot of times in the discovery process, you're going to be required to turn those over anyway. If you've already started working things out to get your documents together, whether it's employment records, whether it's school records or educational records or medical records, as you work through the process to get prepared for your divorce, those are going to come up. You might as well be putting them together right now, because once you get served with discovery, you're going to have either 30 or 45 days to respond to those answers. It may take you months to get some documents together. You're going to be better off if you already started building up your documents before you even file for divorce. One of the most important decisions a person can make when they're going to go into a divorce is who is going to represent me. You know, a lawyer really wears two hats in a divorce. One is an advice hat. The other is a representation hat. You know, if you hire our firm to represent you, on our representation hat, we're going to do what you ask us to. You know, as long as it's not unethical or illegal, within reason, we work for you. And if you tell us to do something, we're going to do what we're asked to do as your attorneys, because we represent you and your interests. But also our other hat is to give you advice. Hopefully this is the only divorce you ever have to deal with, but we handle hundreds and hundreds of divorces. We've done thousands of divorces all over Alabama for many years. And so whereas you're only going to have one, hopefully, we have thousands in our pocket that we've handled over many years, and we know how to work with you to develop a divorce plan. And so because of that, a divorce lawyer is an extremely important decision. Not only who's going to represent me, but where are they from, how much is it going to cost me. There are a lot of considerations you need to take in. You may want a lawyer who is not in your local town to represent you. Now, in our firm, we've represented so many people all over the state for so many years. We know the judges, we know the other lawyers, we know the process in your courthouse there in your local county, but we don't go to church with these folks. We don't see them at the grocery store. We don't play golf at the country club on Saturday with them. And so we don't mind going in and turning over the tables for you if we have to, because we're going to go in and fight hard. We're going to make sure that your interests are protected. And so when you have a lawyer, you may want an out-of-town lawyer to come in and represent you. You may think, they're going to hate this out-of-town lawyer. They're not even going to get anything done for me. We're going to get what we call home cooked. That doesn't always happen, especially if your lawyer has experience going into that courthouse before. So where the lawyer's from, how much is it going to cost? Your lawyer may require a large retainer up front, or maybe they work with you on a payment plan. You got to make sure you can afford your lawyer, because our kids have to eat too, and lawyers don't work for free. And so the financial consideration is going to be major for you. Where they're from and have they got experience working with your judge in your courthouse is going to be a big concern. You may even really want to take into consideration, do I want a man or a woman to represent me? There's no good or bad way, either one. But that may be something that's important to you, because you need to be able to relate to your attorney. And if you're able to have a good relationship with that person so they can understand where you're coming from, that can be important. Maybe you want a lawyer who's been divorced themselves before. Maybe you want one who has the same religious background that you do. I don't know what your considerations are, but all of these are important, because in the end, that lawyer is going to advise you and represent you. And you need to make sure the divorce lawyer you choose in your case is going to be able to help you see where you are and where you want to be, and help you develop a game plan to get to that place. All right, that last straw has finally fallen and you are ready to be divorced. You want to be done. You wish it was over tomorrow, right? I get it. A lot of times people rush through it. They give away everything. They share custody of the children. They just do everything easy as they can just because they want to be done with the process. If your goal is just to be done, that's fine. But a lot of times, if you are slow and methodical about how your divorce is going to happen, you're going to get a better result in the end. So I would encourage you, don't rush. Don't just want it to be over bad enough that you give away things you shouldn't give away. I think it's very important in your divorce that we really consider, okay, what do I need after this divorce is over to be able to maintain the lifestyle I'm used to be able to care for my children, to be able to live in a community where I want to live, to make sure my children go to the school that I want them to attend. All these things are things you need to take into consideration. And if you try to push through and rush your divorce, it's less likely to happen with the outcome that you want. And so I really encourage you to be intentional about your divorce. Make a game plan. Make sure that you set out certain guidelines that you'd like to get through, things that you want to make sure happen in your case, and then work with your attorney to make sure that you're asking for the right things, you provide the right evidence to the court, the right testimony that needs to be heard in order to get the result that you want. And you're going to be much happier with the outcome of your case if you have a plan in advance. If your fairy tale has ended and you're now having to prepare for the divorce you never wanted to happen, but it's coming, or maybe your spouse has filed against you and you've just learned that, call us today. We'd love to help you through this really tough time.